Hey everybody, welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers and need you on board. So hit subscribe, and without further ado, here are the Filthiest Pitches of the Day. I'm going to start with Drew Rasmussen, who pitched 5 innings, gave up no runs, and had 7 Ks. He had 20 swings and misses, mostly because he really had his slider and fastball working. Rasmussen's been lights out this year with a 2.33 ERA and is pretty underrated. You might have heard this from me last time I featured Zack Wheeler, but he is looking like Cy Young contender Zack Wheeler again. He had 9 Ks in 7 innings and gave up only 4 hits. His fastball velocity is back, and so is his nasty slider. Logan Webb, who hasn't really hit his stride yet this year, had 6 Ks in 7 innings and got some bad swings on his slider and changeup. Sonny Gray's two-seamer is one of the better two-seamers in baseball. Check out this front door one he had here. That is filthy. And this umpiring was pretty filthy on these back porch two-seamers. Didn't quite get to the back door, did they? Josiah Gray had 7 Ks in 6 innings, and check out these sliders and swords. Walker Buehler didn't have his most dominant outing, but did have this nasty cutter and curveball. Marco Gonzalez had another great outing. His stuff is hard for me to feature because it isn't eye-popping, but his changeup is really, really good. He outdueled Kevin Gausman, but of course I have to feature a Kevin Gausman splitter because it's one of my favorite pitches in baseball. Look at that filth. Lucas Giolito had 7 Ks in 5 innings, and you got to bend the knee before Lucas's changeup.
Got him to chase a changeup down.
Garrett Cole K'd the side on 98-mile-an-hour fastballs. He had 5 Ks in 7 innings. Jordan Hicks had these absolutely wicked sliders, and I think his slider is really underrated because folks just focus on his fastball. Opponents are hitting only .087 against his slider, and it has a 47% whiff rate, so it is an elite pitch. Nick Pivetta threw a complete game for the Boston Red Sox. A complete game. Can you believe it?
A spectacular performance. A complete game.
He had 8 strikeouts and gave up only 2 hits. And this overlay shows why he's so hard to hit. Here's his fastball and curveball, and you can see they look the same right here, and that curveball just dives into the dirt. He gets a ton of vertical drop on his curveball. While it wasn't entirely a low-scoring pitcher's duel, Corbin Burnes versus Max Fried was must-watch TV. Corbin Burnes' cutter was back and absolutely disgusting. Check out these. I just love how filthy that pitch is. Max Fried had 6 Ks in 6 innings. Fried relied on his changeup early, and look at these. They're disgusting. I think Fried's changeup is one of the most improved pitches in the game. I mean, look at this dead zone one to Tellez. Right in the dead zone of his swing plane. And then Fried threw his curveball late in the game, and that curveball was an absolute hammer. Just beautiful and filthy at the same time. Here's an overlay of his 97-mile-an-hour fastball and that curveball, and you can see what makes that so tough to hit. The 20-mile-an-hour velo difference alone would be a nightmare. The most enjoyable outing of the night, for at least me, was Shohei Ohtani. I love watching him navigate a lineup. He had his 100-mile-an-hour fastball back, topping out at 101 and averaging 98.6 on his fastball. And his slider, well, that was wicked. Look at his front door one here. He gets a ton of horizontal movement on his slider. It doesn't have a lot of depth, so a hitter might think it's going to hit him, and it ends up in the strike zone. Ohtani's also awesome to watch because he's a living and breathing emoji. Here's surprised Ohtani, and here's intense Ohtani. It's hard to totally make out what he's saying, but it looks like it's F off. Though in the context of this situation, let's F and go would be more like it, because he was talking to himself. He had just thrown a wild pitch and yanked a 101-mile-an-hour fastball and wanted to get out of the inning. He needed to make a pitch, and he did. He got this ground out to end the inning and his outing. Now on to my filthiest relievers. David Bednar picked up a 2-inning save. Don't look now, but he's got a .9 ERA this year. Devin Williams had these absolutely sick UFO airbenders and struck out the side. Yuan Duran had this filth in a 14-4 game. I mean, come on, dude. Throwing these wicked sliders, 97-mile-an-hour splinker, and 102 and 103-mile-an-hour fastballs in a 14-4 game? Yikes. His opposing pitcher at this point was Chad Pinder. This has to be the biggest velo difference ever in the same inning of the same game by opposing pitchers. Spencer Strider worked an inning and absolutely incinerated the side. Look at this. Absolute diesel. And, of course, his patented K-Roulette. And the filthiest single pitch by a reliever last night was this slider by Adam Ottavino that broke 21 inches. Bend the knee. And now, my pitching ninja moment of zen. Something tells me this wasn't his first rodeo.